Greetings, family, and welcome to the Tools and Seeds from Subsistence Farming to Food Security in Sierra Leone, West Africa lecture. This presentation is specifically designed to provide a case study packed with information, analysis, and video documentation addressing the subjects of agricultural development and food security in both rural and urban communities. To get started, I will read a 105-year-old article entitled Appeal by Marcus Garvey, The Proposed Industrial Farm, which was originally published on September 9th, 1915. My goal is to establish the historical and philosophical continuum and relevance of the fundamental ideals that guide our approach to agricultural development and food security in the 21st century. Appeal by Marcus Garvey, The Proposed Industrial Farm. And I quote, Mr. Marcus Garvey, President of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, sends us the following. The Universal Negro Improvement Association, desirous of doing its share in helping to raise the condition of the unfortunate of the people and assisting all agencies at work for that purpose, namely, the government, the churches, philanthropic institutions, and individuals, have decided to establish an industrial farm and institute in the interest of the people, and they are now appealing to their members, friends, and sympathizers to help them to realize and carry through the object. The association realized that every good effort has its enemies as well as its friends. Hence, the appeal is confined only to those who are in sympathy with the aim of the association, namely, an earnest endeavor to lift the people of the struggling class to a better and more comfortable state of living. The following are the objects for which the farm and institute are to be established. 1. Providing work for the unemployed. 2. Training our men to a better knowledge and appreciation of agriculture and the soil. 3. Teaching our people to be industrialists. 4. Providing better and more skilled agricultural workers. 5. Teaching the highest efficiency in the trade. 6. Fitting our young men and women for a better place in the moral and social life of the country. 7. Training our young women to be good and efficient domestics, etc. 8. Providing a good educational training for those who lack the opportunity in earlier years. 9. And the establishing of a department for reclaiming and providing ready work for discharged prisoners so as to keep them from returning to crime via predio larceny, petty theft, etc. The ideal of the farm is to teach and illustrate to the people the dignity, beauty, and civilizing power of intelligent labor. The object of the institute is to supply literary and cultured training, and to help in the production of a more efficient class of tradespeople and reliable servants. Donation of any kind from those in sympathy with the association can be sent to Mr. T.A. McCormick, General Secretary, or Mr. J.R. Murdoch, Treasurer, at 30 Charles Street, Kingston, Jamaica, which shall be acknowledged by letter and through the press. So just imagine, this is a letter written by Marcus Garvey, published a year before he even entered the United States of America. Right there in Kingston, Jamaica, at the very, very beginning of what became, even until this day, the largest Pan-African, all-black expression of self-governance, sovereignty that we've ever seen so far. I mean, of course, we still have our neo-colonial nationalities. You know, we still have our modern ethnicities. But when we're talking about a racial government, a government for every single black person on the face of this earth, just to look back and think that Garvey thought first to feed the people, to teach the people how to farm. Do you understand? To create an institute. An institute to make sure that information, knowledge, resources are not only concentrated, but passed down so that future generations can benefit. And we take our inspiration not only from these words, and not even only from Marcus Garvey, but from many, many, many ancestral sources, as well as from those who we see all around the world today, fighting to feed the people. And so today's lecture will highlight and introduce you to a modern approach to basically accomplishing exactly what Marcus Garvey was talking about 105 years ago. So why Marcus Garvey? Why Marcus Garvey? Why Marcus Garvey? Why not? Why not? We have to ask ourselves these questions. Men and women are not perfect, but ideals, concepts, philosophy can transcend time and work to perfection. So we have Marcus Mosiah Garvey. In September 1915, only 1 year after founding the UNIACL in Jamaica. And he's still in Jamaica at this time. Literally organizing. Just back from London, organizing. This is around the same time that Marcus Mosiah Garvey was sending letters to Booker T, trying to compare and contrast, trying to understand how programs could be duplicated and expanded around the world through collaborations. And the most striking thing about this is that the priority was on the people. The interest was in uplifting the struggling masses. Just check out the letter, y'all. Can't make this up. Before there was a Black Star liner or a constitution for the government or even a red, black, and green flag, Garvey had a plan to feed the people. 1915. Nobody knew Marcus Garvey then. Who knew Marcus Garvey in 1915 outside of Jamaica and the few people who met him along the way? So it's very interesting to see that Garvey was focused on industry and farming from the very, very beginning. So, of course, this particular lecture is going to be focusing on the same subject matter. The difference here is that we are now mid-2020, 105 years later. And the basic principles, the basic interests, the basic analysis, the basic solution that's manifested and being promoted in this letter is actually the same exact vibration we on right now. Later on in the lecture, you will be able to have more information in terms of statistics, in terms of actual data, to give you a better idea of what it is that we are seeking to tackle right here today in Sierra Leone, West Africa, through our Tools and Seeds Farmers Assistance Project. The Tools and Seeds Farmers Assistance Project is a project that was launched officially several years ago under the auspices of the Black Star Action Network International here in Sierra Leone. At first, our goal was to learn, obviously. Our goal was to begin learning how farming is done in the country. What are the general attitudes towards farming? How do the youth feel about farming? The women, how does our agricultural activities play out in the marketplace? How much do we get for what we produce? What about processing? Are there factories? If a village produces, a whole bunch of rice or a whole bunch of ground nuts or any other staple crop here, is there a way for us to process these raw crops into various products that could be utilized here as food and medicine, that could be exported to African households and communities around the world as a priority? Do we have that capacity here? And so a few years ago, 3 years ago in fact, the movement here, we initiated a process of research and development. We wanted to know what we can do. And so first, we started with groundnuts. Groundnuts is a very, very popular staple crop that's grown here in all of the districts of the country. We utilize groundnuts in food, in so many different ways. There's so many different dishes that we eat with groundnuts. Also, since we was talking about Tuskegee, we could talk a little bit about George Washington Carver, who invented over 100 different things that we can produce out of groundnuts. I say groundnuts, you might say peanut out there. But here in Africa, particularly Sierra Leone, we call peanuts groundnuts. If we're talking about the Gullah culture, you might say goober. So whatever you want to call it, we're talking about basically peanuts. They grow on a 3-month cycle. The best time to plant them and harvest them is during the rain seasons. And so 2 rain seasons ago, we reached out, partnered with a village, and started off with small farming just to understand the price for labor, the cost for seeds, and just the whole process of opening up land for farming, for production. And so last year we kind of upscaled. We did 2 acres. I know y'all laughing out there, but 2 acres, it ain't easy when you actually think about it, especially when you're just starting off. So last year we did our 2 acres, successful farming. We always mix things in with the groundnuts. We never just farm one thing. We always farm cucumbers, corn, cassava leaf, cassava, potato leaf, just different table crops, what I would call them, things you can grow and then eat them right away. You don't necessarily have to take them to the market. And here, that's mainly how people embark on their agricultural venturing. It's basically subsistence farming. And so there is no room for expansion. There is no room for broader social benefits from farming other than just consumption. And we really want to be able to take it to a higher level than that. So all of that was research and development. Now fast forward. Last year, on July 4th, 2019, a group of African Americans who repatriated to Sierra Leone with a group of native Sierra Leoneans who came together for the purpose of reunification and redemption, particularly between the Gullah people of North America, confined largely to the South Carolina, Georgia Low Country, Sea Islands, expanding all the way to North Carolina and most of Florida along the coast, and Sierra Leone, because many of the ancestors who were stolen from this place and from these people were ultimately taken to the ports of Charleston and dispersed throughout the immediate corridor, and also were chosen for their special rice cultivating skills. And the vast majority, at the height of the transatlantic so-called slave trade, Bunce Island, Sierra Leone, imported thousands and thousands of our ancestors from this place, and particularly because the people here have a high advanced rice cultivating culture here. Everybody can plant rice. Children can plant rice here, and that's what the British colonizers and enslavers wanted. They wanted a cash crop that would sell all around the world with no problem. And so at the discovery that West African rice could grow in the swamps and in the immediate coastal area, oh man, they immediately begin to attack these communities and these people here in what today is termed as Sierra Leone. And so we started the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone. Of course, again, for the purpose of redeeming the special relationship between these two African peoples, representing a example, a model for how Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora can unify and come together for the purpose of redeeming our special relationship towards development, towards liberation. You understand? And so it's with the same spirit of this letter that we even formed the company that now champions the Tools and Seeds Farmers Assistance Project. So the Tools and Seeds Farmers Assistance Project is specifically designed for us, the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, along with our partners, the Black Star Action Network International, Basani, the Gullah Nation of North America, Gonona, the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League Rehabilitating Committee 2020, UNIACL, in collaboration all together to push this mission to create food security through cash crop sustainability. Now, our program is geared not only just to farm and sell things. We are not capitalists. Our goal specifically is to empower and to facilitate the overall socio-economic development of the host communities in which we farm, the villages. And so, while we focus on the rural areas primarily, we also engage in urban farming. So in this lecture, we will take you through the process that we have already implemented up until this point with our current farming project. And it has really been dynamic, guys. It's been educational and it's been empowering already to the community as well as to the mission. One thing that has improved from last year to this year, from 2 acres, this year we farmed 20 acres. And that 20 acres is the first 20 acres of 500 acres granted. And this land is granted on the basis that the farming results in development for the people and that it's sustainable. That is sustainable. On any scale is sustainable. And so we started this year. Originally, we wanted to do rice, but we were not able to operate properly to get the kind of support that we needed in order to do the rice due to the coronavirus pandemic. Shutting down a lot of things. Right now, people are afraid about this harvest. A lot of resources wasn't there. A lot of just so much. You know, this country was locked down. We're restricted from moving around for most of the planting season. And so even now, people are still trying to catch up and make sure that there's going to be food on the table. You know, there's going to be a little bit of money to make. And, you know, so that's the struggle right now. But despite that, we've been able to organize ourselves with our partners abroad and here on the ground in Sierra Leone. And one, consolidate 500-acre grant in partnership with the stakeholders and the people of Magboya village located in the Senda local chiefdom in northern Sierra Leone. This village is beautiful. I mean, Sierra Leone is beautiful, but this village in particular, and I say that because the people are so ready and so eager for the right ideal, you know, a correct way to deal with each other so that we can progress forward collectively. And like most communities here in Sierra Leone and around the African world, there's a lot of neglect, a lot of concentrated poverty, lack of social institutions for education. You know, there's no light, things like that. You know, basic things that you know, a lot of us out there in the so-called developed world would consider a human right. And here you have villages and people who have never seen it in their immediate environments. And so this is the kind of restoration and redemption that we plan to bring to Africa as a whole, but particularly through this project in this village. We've been able to also involve ourselves in coal production. For those who don't know, the primary source of energy in this country for cooking food is not gas, y'all, and it's not electric. It's coal. It used to be wood, but now it's coal. And so the villagers find the ability to produce coal from the brush and the trees that are dead or not producing fruits. If you're smart, that's the ones you would go for. But we're able to produce the coal, and at the same time, we have a strategy to embark on food tree planting. We want to nurse food trees. 10, 15, 20 years from now, people will just pull fruits from them trees and eat. That's food security. That's sustainability. You know, um, and the coal really helps us to supply energy. To uh, not only provide for the village, but also for places like Freetown, where most of those things that are produced within the country have to be brought to Freetown, like coal. A lot of the food, a lot of the agriculture. They don't have big farms in Freetown. Freetown is the capital city. And so even the capital city is very, very dependent on coal supplies from the rest of the country. And so to make a long story short, we will be showing you a video from our first trip to Magboya, an official visit where I, myself, Chief Foday Ajamu Mansaray, CEO for the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, was able to meet with the elders, the stakeholders, the children, the teachers, the women, the young men, the youth, the farmers of this beautiful village, and talk to them and negotiate with them how best we can partner and utilize the land and the labor to produce a better situation for all the people there. And it was great. You're going to see it here in the first video. The second video will highlight our urban farming project, which we have initiated at what we call the African Diaspora Village, which we have a project which we are doing with the landowner who's currently residing in the United States of America, but has a very strong passion for repatriation and resettling the positive elements of the diaspora back on the continent, particularly Sierra Leone. And so we have a partner, whereas we are embarking on urban farming. Our youth members are very actively involved in it. Even our executives, even our elder members are actively involved in it. The African Diaspora Village is situated on approximately 1.5 acres of land in the Wilberforce area of Freetown, which is central to all areas. You can get everywhere fast. You can get there from everywhere fast. Very key location. And we have planted groundnuts. We planted all kinds of foods. And then, of course, there's fruit trees and food trees, even moringa trees on the land. And so the goal for this African Diaspora Village is to be developed into a temporary stay facilities and a retreat village, a retreat village for our people, for the diaspora when they come home, for our people here while they're home. They can have access to a place right here in the city where they can go and reside and have contact with the culture and the heritage on a regular basis. And so Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone is also involved in rural and urban farming at the same time through the Tools and Seeds Farmers Assistance Project. With that, I will take my break and take my exit and pass the mic over to my co-lecturer, also my wife, and the president for the Gullah Nation of North America, international ambassador for the Gullah Redemption Mission Sierra Leone, and president for the Black Star Action Network International. Very dynamic sister, black woman who loves Africa and is also a repatriate who has been here for the last 5 years, contributing greatly to the overall agenda of establishing a strong foundation in the country for those who are coming behind us as repatriates, for those who are looking to visit, those who are looking to invest, those who are looking to be involved with the African rising, because that is what is happening here, guys. Africa is rising up under all of the tragedies and all of the bad things that we can name that our people are encountering at this time, that we have been suffering for a very long time. There is hope. There is hope in the young population. There is hope in the old population. There is hope. And there is more hope even for the future. And so, with no further ado, I introduce to you Queen Kenya Malinke Mansaray. Thank you very much.